I don't remember my birth. No one does. But I've lived with its consequences my entire life. I was born on the road. Not in a tent prepared for joy. Not in a home filled with celebration. I entered the world while my mother was leaving it. One breath in, one breath out. Life crossing paths with death in the dust of Canaan. That's how my story began. Some of you listening right now were born into chaos too. Maybe not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. Your beginning was marked by something you never asked for, something you couldn't control. Comment, I relate, if your beginning wasn't gentle. Because I need you to know, you're not alone in this. My father, Jacob, was traveling with his caravan toward Ephrath when it happened. The journey had already been long. The sun was heavy, beating down without mercy. The ground was unforgiving, every step a reminder that we were still far from home. And then my mother, Rachel, went into labor. I've heard the story so many times I can see it even though I wasn't conscious yet. The caravan stopping abruptly. The women rushing to her side. My father's face draining of color. The realization spreading through the group like cold water. This wasn't supposed to happen here. Not like this. Not now. Something was wrong. Genesis 35 records it plainly, without drama, without emotion dressing it up. She had hard labor. But those words don't capture the fear, the panic, the helplessness my father must have felt watching the woman he loved struggle for every breath. The midwife working frantically, knowing that sometimes your best isn't enough. The realization settling into the faces around her that this wasn't going to end the way births were supposed to end. Rachel was my father's great love. The woman he waited 14 years to marry. 14 years of labor under a manipulative father-in-law. 14 years of being tricked, of working for one daughter and receiving another, of pressing forward anyway because love made it worth the cost. She was the one whose absence he could never replace, even though he had other wives, other children. None of them were Rachel. And now she was fighting to bring me into the world. The midwife leaned close. Her voice steady. Practiced. She delivered hundreds of babies, seen countless mothers through their darkest moments. Do not fear, she said. You have another son. Another son. Joseph had been the first, the favorite, the dreamer. And now me. But my mother already knew. I think mothers always know. There's an awareness that comes in those final moments, a clarity that cuts through pain and confusion. I was born crying, small, fragile, alive. And as her strength faded, as the light dimmed in her eyes and her body grew still, Rachel named me Benoni. Genesis 35 verse 18 says it without hesitation. And it came to pass as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, son of my sorrow. That was my first identity, my introduction to the world, my mother's final words. I want you to sit with that for a moment. Really sit with it. Imagine being named in someone else's pain. Imagine your existence being immediately tied to loss, to grief, to the worst moment of someone else's life. Imagine carrying that weight before you could even lift your head, before you could focus your eyes, before you knew what a name even meant. That was me. That was my reality from breath one. Before I had a memory, I had a label. Before I could form thoughts, my identity was already being written in tragedy. Before my father could smile at me, he was preparing a grave for my mother. The desert went quiet that day. Nature itself seemed to hold its breath. The servants bowed their heads, respecting the sacred space of grief. My brother stood back, unsure where to look, uncertain how to process this. Was I a blessing or a curse? A gift or a wound? And my father held me in his arms while the love of his life lay lifeless at his feet. That's a kind of grief you don't recover from. You don't get over it. You don't move past it. You learn to live around it. You learn to carry it. You build your life with that weight always present, always pressing. I cried like all newborns do, unaware of the weight pressing down on my existence. Unaware that I was already at the center of something broken. But my name echoed in the silence like a sentence passed on someone who had no defense. Benoni. Every time it would be spoken, it would reopen the wound. Every time someone called for me, my father would remember. The servants would remember. My brothers would remember. I would become a walking memorial to the worst day of my father's life. Every time it would be heard, it would remind everyone of what was lost, of who was missing, of the empty space at the table that could never be filled. And my father knew it. Jacob understood something many people still don't understand today, something that gets lost in our modern world where names are just sounds we like or family traditions we honor. A name is not just a word. It's a direction, a declaration, a prophecy, a destiny spoken aloud over someone's life. In Hebrew culture, names carried weight. They shaped identity. They announced purpose. They framed your story before you even had a chance to write it. He looked at me, his hands shaking, his heart breaking into pieces he'd spent years trying to gather. And he refused to let sorrow have the final say. Genesis 35 verse 18 continues, "But his father called him Benjamin, son of my right hand." Not sorrow, strength. Not pain, honor. Not death, authority, position, power. The right hand was the place of favor, of inheritance, of protection. It was where the heir stood, where the trusted one resided, where the future was secured. My father renamed me while burying my mother. Let that sink in. Let that reality wash over you. Some people collapse in grief. They let it consume them. They surrender to it and never find their way back. Others choose faith anyway. They choose hope when hope seems foolish. They choose to speak life even while standing in the shadow of death. If that moment hits you, if you feel the weight of what my father did in that impossible moment, go ahead and tap like. It helps more people hear this story. It helps other people know they're not alone in their pain. My father wasn't pretending the pain didn't exist. He wasn't in denial. He wasn't putting on a brave face or toxic positivity. Rachel was gone. That loss would follow him to his grave. He would visit her tomb regularly, speaking to her memory, grieving her absence. But he chose not to let pain define me. He refused to let tragedy author my future. He refused to let death have the last word over his youngest son. And yet, even with a new name, even with a new identity declared over me, the past doesn't disappear. Renaming doesn't erase. It redirects. It reframes. But the wound is still there. I grew up without my mother. That's a loss I carried every single day. I never heard her voice. Was it soft or commanding? Did she sing? Did she laugh easily? I never felt her embrace, never knew if she held tightly or gently. Never saw the way she looked at my father when she thought no one was watching. That private language couples develop, that silent communication built over years of intimacy. All I had were stories, secondhand memories, other people's impressions filtered through their own grief and nostalgia. She was kind, they'd say. She was patient. She waited a long time for you. But those words couldn't fill the void. They couldn't answer my questions. They couldn't give me what I needed most, her presence. I lived as a memory more than a son. I wasn't Benjamin to most people. I was Rachel's last breath, Rachel's final gift, the boy who cost her everything. And my father guarded me like someone afraid the world might take me too. He watched me constantly, hovered, protected, restricted. Love mixed with fear, affection tangled with anxiety. Before me there had been another son of Rachel, Joseph, my only full brother, the one who shared my mother's bloodline, who understood what it meant to be Rachel's child in a family of competing loyalties. Everyone knew about Joseph, the dreams that made him insufferable to his brothers, the coat of many colors that publicly declared our father's favoritism, the favor that created resentment, jealousy, hatred. And then the silence. One day Joseph was there and the next he was gone. Genesis 37 had already torn our family open. Betrayal, jealousy, blood on fabric. A carefully constructed lie that settled into my father's bones and never left. My brothers came home with Joseph's coat, torn and stained, evidence of a tragedy they claimed to have stumbled upon. Joseph was dead, killed by a wild animal, lost forever, or so my father believed. I grew up in the shadow of a ghost. Joseph's memory haunted our family. Every time my father looked at me, I wonder if he saw Joseph, if he compared us, if he wished it had been me instead. And now I was all my father had left of Rachel, the last living connection to the woman who defined his heart. Love like that can protect you. It can shield you from harm, from hardship, from the cruelty of the world. But it can also isolate you, can smother you. It can make you weak because you're never allowed to face anything hard, never allowed to prove yourself, never allowed to fail and learn and grow. My brothers saw it. They didn't need to say it out loud. The tension was always there, humming beneath every interaction. I wasn't just the youngest. I was untouchable, fragile. A reminder of loss no one wanted to reopen. They couldn't treat me like they treated each other, roughly, honestly, with the casual cruelty that brothers used to sharpen each other. No, I was different, set apart, and that created distance no amount of shared blood could close. Meanwhile, I grew up unaware that my life was moving toward a moment that would change everything. That all of this, the pain, the loss, the isolation, the protection, was preparation for something I couldn't have imagined. Years passed. I grew from a child into a young man. The family settled into rhythms. Painful rhythms, yes, but rhythms nonetheless. We learned to live around the grief, around the absence. Then the famine came. It started slowly. One bad harvest, concerning but not catastrophic. Then another, and another. Canaan dried up. Crops failed. Animals grew thin. Hunger crept into every conversation, every prayer, every worried glance toward the horizon. And word spread that Egypt had grain. Egypt, the great empire to the south, had somehow escaped the worst of it. Their storehouses were full. Their grain was available for purchase. Egypt, the place tied to our deepest wound. The place where, according to the story we'd been told, wild animals had torn Joseph apart. My brothers prepared to go. 10 of them, everyone except me. My father stopped them when they suggested I join. "My son shall not go down with you," Jacob said. His voice was final, brooking no argument. "Joseph is dead and he alone is left. If harm should happen to him on the journey you are taking, then you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow to Sheol." Genesis 42 verse 38. Fear speaking louder than logic. Grief overruling wisdom. He alone is left. Those words stung my brothers. What were they? Chopped liver? Didn't their lives matter? But I understood what he meant. I was Rachel's son. The last one. The irreplaceable one. My brothers left. They returned with grain but also with a problem. The Egyptian governor, a harsh, suspicious man, had accused them of being spies. He'd imprisoned Simeon and demanded they return with me, the youngest brother they'd mentioned, as proof they were telling the truth. My father refused. Absolutely not. Simeon could rot in an Egyptian prison. I was staying home. But famine doesn't negotiate. It doesn't care about fear or grief or trauma. The food ran out once again. The choice became simple, brutally simple. Go back to Egypt with me, or die. Judah stepped forward. I watched something shift in his face, something I'd never seen before. Something had changed in him. Guilt has a way of reshaping a man, of forcing him to confront who he's been and decide who he wants to become. Genesis 43 verse 9, I will be a pledge for his safety. From my hand you shall require him. If I do not bring him back to you and set him before you, then let me bear the blame forever. That's not the voice of the man who once sold his brother into slavery. That's not the voice of the man who helped create the lie that destroyed our father. That's a man asking for redemption. A man trying to rewrite his story. And so I went. I didn't know Egypt would rewrite our entire story. I just knew my father watched me leave like someone counting breaths, like someone convinced he'd never see me again. The road to Egypt was tense. No laughter, no stories, no casual conversation. Just footsteps and thoughts no one wanted to speak aloud. Judah walked close to me, silent, protective, carrying a promise heavier than any sack of grain we'd bring home. Egypt rose before us, massive and unforgiving, power etched into stone and command, a civilization that dwarfed anything we knew, buildings that touched the sky, crowds that moved like rivers, wealth on display everywhere you looked. And there he was, the governor, second only to Pharaoh, the man who controlled the grain, who held our survival in his hands. We bowed. We spoke carefully, respectfully. We didn't recognize him, but he recognized me. Genesis 43 verse 30, Joseph hurried out, for his compassion grew warm for his brother, and he sought a place to weep. I didn't see that part. I didn't witness him leaving the room, didn't hear the sobs he muffled in privacy. But I felt it. There are moments when someone looks at you like they know you, even when you don't know why. When their eyes carry weight you can't explain. When something in your spirit recognizes something in theirs, even if your mind can't make sense of it. That was Egypt. That was Joseph, though I didn't know it yet. Joseph was more than a ruler. I was more than a visitor. And neither of us said a word. Not yet. If this twist caught you off guard, if you're starting to see where this is going, comment God's timing below. Because what I'm about to tell you next, it changed everything. The feast came. Lavish, generous. The governor showed us kindness that confused us. The gifts, the special attention. The way he kept looking at me, studying my face like he was trying to memorize it. And then the journey home. Finally, relief. That dangerous kind that makes you think the worst is over, that makes you let your guard down. Then the shouting. Soldiers on horseback kicking up dust as they surrounded us. Accusations flying. Why have you repaid good with evil? Why have you stolen my master's silver cup? The confusion was absolute. Stolen? We hadn't stolen anything. We'd barely touched anything. We'd been grateful guests, nothing more. Search the bags, my brothers insisted, confidence born from innocence. Genesis 44 verse 10, only the one with whom the cup is found shall be my slave, and the rest of you shall be innocent. One bag at a time. The soldiers worked methodically, deliberately, creating tension with every motion. Nothing. Relief started to build. We were innocent. This would be cleared up. We could go home. And then mine. They opened my bag last. There it was. The silver cup. Gleaming. Damning. Impossible. My heart stopped. The world tilted. Oh, I hadn't taken it. But truth didn't matter in that moment. Evidence did. And the evidence was in my bag. Genesis 44 verse 13, then they tore their clothes. It's what you did when confronted with unbearable grief. When tragedy struck. When everything fell apart. Shock doesn't scream. It doesn't rage. It silences you. It stops your breath and freezes your blood and makes the world feel unreal. Back to the palace. Back to the man who held our fate in his hands. Back to face judgment. Genesis 44 verse 17. The man in whose hand the cup was found shall be my slave. But you, go up in peace to your father. History was repeating itself. The same choice my brothers had faced years ago with Joseph. Leave the youngest. Save yourselves. Let one be sacrificed so the rest can survive. And then Judah stepped forward. I'll never forget it. The way he positioned himself between me and the governor. The way his voice shook but held firm. He spoke of my father, of his grief, of how losing me would kill him, of promises made that couldn't be broken. And then he said the words that changed everything, the words that split our history into before and after. Genesis 44 verses 33 to 34. Now therefore, please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a slave to my lord, and let the boy go back with his brothers. For how can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? I fear to see the evil that would find my father. Silence. Complete. Absolute. Then tears. The governor, this powerful Egyptian, began to weep. Loudly. Openly. Without shame. He ordered everyone else out. Just us. Just family. Genesis 45 verse 3. I am Joseph. Is my father still alive? The world stopped. Those words hung in the air, impossible, undeniable. I looked at him. Really looked. Past the Egyptian clothes, the shaved face, the makeup, the power. And suddenly the past made sense. The dreams. The disappearance. The survival. The rise. Joseph. My brother. Alive. He embraced me. 20 years of separation collapsed in that moment. What was broken was being restored. What was lost was being found. Not just a family, a future. Years later, after we'd all moved to Egypt, before our father died in peace knowing his sons were together, he blessed each of us. One final prophetic word over our lives. When he came to me, his hands trembling with age but his voice strong with conviction, he spoke my future. Genesis 49 verse 27. Benjamin is a ravenous wolf. In the morning he devours the prey, and at evening he divides the spoil. From sorrow to strength. From the weakest to warriors. From the boy who almost didn't have a name to the father of a tribe that would shape Israel's destiny. From my line came warriors who turned battles. Kings who established kingdoms. Queens who saved nations. Apostles who changed the world. Saul, the first king of Israel. Esther, who stood before a king and saved her people from genocide. Paul, who took the gospel to the ends of the earth. Romans 11 verse 1. I am an Israelite, a descendant of Abraham, a member of the tribe of Benjamin. Pride in his voice. Identity reclaimed. And here's the part most people miss, the detail that makes everything click into place. My tribe was placed between Judah and the others when we settled in the Promised Land. A small territory. Strategic. Essential. A bridge. A connector. Just like me. Born between life and death. Named between sorrow and strength. Standing between loss and restoration. God never wasted my pain. He transformed it. He used it. He made it mean something. And he won't waste yours. Whatever you were called, whatever name trauma or circumstance or cruel voices tried to give you, God is renaming you right now, calling you into strength, into purpose, into a future you can't yet imagine. If this story spoke to you, if you see yourself in these words, like the video, subscribe to Bible Behind the Scenes, and share it with someone who thinks their beginning disqualified them from their destiny. I was called Benoni, son of sorrow, but I lived as Benjamin, son of strength. And so can you.